Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 13 of What If Naruto Was an Emotionless Ghost. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this one to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, go ahead and check out What If Naruto Was Given Abilities by 4 Devils over on Anime King and enjoy that. And over in Anime King 3, I post a new episode of What If Naruto Had Cosmic Energy. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy as well, guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for helping your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Naruto was currently training with Asuma, as he was the one teaching and helping him to refine his bow, and because he wanted to add chakra in it. Naruto had to make his way off as it was his first session with Hinata, as both of them spoke, as she didn't want him to break that seal, that memory seal that he allowed to eat away at his memories, and considering that he was the one that did it, something tragic must have happened to force him to do that. As she thought about it now, if something was so tragic that it would have scared him, that meant it must be really bad. Really bad. As Naruto headed off the moment the session was done, time passed as Asuma and Kurenai and her team was out there. As they were seeing Naruto progress with his training, as he was coming along quite well as Asuma had taught him everything that he knew in that department, as Naruto was now able to add chakra to the bow. While that was going on, Itachi was talking to the masked man who had dropped the axe in front of him. As they laid their cards on the table, and a strange partnership was built right there and then. As the masked man wanted to take care of Nagato as well, but he was quite powerful. But still, there was a partnership built between them. As long as they don't try to kill each other now, they can work together. Despite the both of them knowing that neither of them want the same things, as Itachi wanted Akatsuki not to achieve their goals. With that out of the way, Naruto was invited by Shino. As Naruto went over toward Shino's house, as he activated his Byakugan as he saw all the bugs in the walls. As he was given a blade by Shino's father, as he saw that Naruto was quite different compared to the others. He didn't know why, but he respected the boy, and Naruto thanked him for it. As Naruto saw that they were living in one with the bugs, a perfect hive just in the wall not troubling them, and the hives was keeping up the house, the complex. And with that he made his way. Meanwhile, Danzo was talking with his council members. These members were like his council, they were the top of root. The strongest, the ones that he sent on the dangerous missions. As he wanted to know the fallout of him taking Snatty out of the run. Yes. As they were talking about their possible strategies, but all of them were bad in Danzo's eyes. All of them had too much backlash or fallout. But it didn't matter, soon enough he would be taking that seat, as he had to just come up with a proper plan. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across to the place and check it out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? Naruto was surprised and Talon merely landed within his apartment without trying to attack him. Grab your things, kid, and get to the Hokage Tower now, he said. As he left with speed, Naruto grabbed his gear as he made his way to the rooftop. As he almost bumped into someone, Darky-kun, Uncle-chan, they kept on moving. We need to talk more, seriously, she said. But the tower was rapidly approaching as the both of them made their way, their cloak whipping through the air as they entered at the same time. Super sexy Uncle-chan and the mysterious and handsome Darky-kun, ready to save the day. Everyone turned towards them as Uncle had a banner that said exactly that. As everyone was silent, Snaddy looked amused and looked like she wanted to kill the both of them, while Shizune had her arms buried in her palm. There was a few others that he didn't recognize as well. Team 8 was there, but their sensei was not there either. "Where's Kurenai sensei?" he said. Silence greeted him as all of them turned towards him. As Snaddy cracked her knuckle, as he wondered, did he say something wrong? "Naruto, please tell me you weren't in on this." "I was not," he said. As Snaddy shook her head as she turned towards Uncle. "Totally worth it," Uncle said. As Snaddy eyebrow twitched, as Uncle simply stared back. "If it wasn't urgent, I would have Naruto shoot you with his bow. Now, I summon you all here, so boom." The cannon fed his fire from the cannons that Uncle had set up with the banner. As everyone paused. Snaddy was trying her best not to break something, but the pen in her hand ended up snapping from her just exerting her strength. "In my defense, they were supposed to go off when we came in." Snaddy took in a deep breath. "The three-tailed beasts were forming," she said. "I was hoping that by sending a normal shinobi team on a series of unrelated patrols mission, that we wouldn't attract any attention of the event happening. That is why there's 3 teams worth. Team 8 will go out first. They are known as a tracking team and they have excellent record of border patrol. This will make them utterly unnoticed by other forces in the area. Then a sealing team," she indicated the shinobis besides Shizune, "will depart. And at the same time, Envu team and combat team," she said, indicating Talon squad. "All teams will converge near but not meet up. When the event begins completely, then Team 8 will keep a watch. The Envu team will perform combat duties to hold off any enemies, and the sealing team will do what their name suggests. Here will act as a medic for a squad in combat, clear? Team 8 are not to engage in battle unless completely necessary. That call belongs to you, Talon." There was a chorus of nods around the room. "Now, Naruto, your question. Kurenai is on sick leave and unavailable for her duties. Hence, you'll be leading Team 8. Yes, there's a chance that the Akatsuki might show up, and I expect you not to engage unless utterly necessary. I feel you recover enough to take on missions again. Welcome back to active service," she said. "Sending me at all seems reckless, Hokage-sama. Deal with it. You're leading the reconnaissance team," she said. As Naruto turned, as Kiba and Hinata gave him a smile. Even Shino gave him a nod. "Also, Uncle, you're attached to the Envu team. Yes, you get your choice of animal." How about kitten," said Talon, as he moved away from a swipe from Uncle. "Oh, don't be like that," he said. "I think kitten would do just fine, kitten," he said, with a smirk under his mask. So with that, everyone got ready as they headed off. Meanwhile, the Akatsuki trio moved slowly through the forest that reached around Konoha, moving past the outskirts north of the city. As they were moving towards the location Zetsu had indicated, Itachi walked ahead of the zombie brothers, who managed to get themselves into an argument for the 3rd time. "Call me Stitches, or make another pun about it again, and I will remove your head and place on a pike for Jashin to see how weak you are," said Kakazu. "Jashin will never forsake me, you old piece of crap. His promise for eternal life is what drives me onwards in his holy service." He caught Hidan by his throat. The last time, it was the sound of bleeding flesh, and the blood of your enemy the other time. Change your mind again, and I'll remove a limb. As Hidan pulled himself out of his hole. "Screw off." Itachi looking like he's getting annoyed by your constant threats and your crap shit for brains. "Who the hell are you calling shit?" Itachi spun slowly. "Shut up," he said. The 2 zombie brothers looked at him for a moment before they became silent as they continued their march. Oddly enough, Itachi missed Kisame. Yes, as he was always quiet and just talked when it was necessary between them. For other people, he was always talking and but between them, Itachi knew that Kisame understood the rhythm. But these 2, as he wondered how the hell they got anything done. Yes, Hidan couldn't die, and Kakazu could put him back together, but still, the constant bickering, the cursing. As he wondered if Naruto would appear in his mission, the Hokage would be foolish enough to send him on this mission. But then again, he did need to make the rest of the Akatsuki know who he is. As he was keeping a balance that worked for his advantage, Still, he wondered if he could trust Toby, whoever he was. He was the only thing that can throw all his plans off in this game right now. He felt that this was kind of a mixed, bizarre game of shogi. But he wasn't playing to win. He was playing to ensure that nobody won, because he would not. The argument behind him started to flare up once again, and he chose to ignore it. Hidan was going to die. Kakazu was too strong for Hidan to do anything about. The thought of him betraying the Akatsuki and watching these two get put down filled him with a bit of excitement, as he allowed himself a small smile as he walked. Well, for a brief moment. He wondered what would occur in the future with him going through these plans, as he found himself distracted, not thinking about his brother, as he made his way. Time skip. The morning sun reflecting off the lake. The sight was beautiful. It was like a great painting. As Naruto saw the chakra in the lake rapturing and coming together, as Hinata was seeing it as well. What's so exciting about the lake? I can't see anything, said Kiba. As Naruto broke away his gaze, he was in charge of this team now. The chakra of the tail beast is slowly converging in the lake. It is like threads, swaying. It is like they're following a river stream dance, as they grow stronger time by time. I suspect if it were to be watched long enough, forms of the beast would be seen reform. Kiba looked annoyed. Stupid lucky people with their Byakugan. Any of those going spirit in your clan, Hinata? Naruto could tell by the tone of voice that it wasn't serious, as he had managed to pick up that between them, the way they spoke and the way they reacted by certain questions and certain accusations. They were certainly different with those of the Envu team. When Hinata got her way, they discussed flowers, plants, and chat about Konoha. The team was very good of knowing their surroundings as well. Their reputation was fully deserved. We take a patrol around the lake. We then move in closer to check the lake and see if there are any presence detected. If they are, do not engage directly. The three of them nodded. As they move out once again, the forest around the lake was rather thick as they made their way. At the moment everything was peaceful, Akatsuki wasn't here. He wondered what it would be like when the beast reformed. It must will have a oppressive feeling to it, making the ear very harder to breathe. Would he have to go as far as he did with the One Tails? That would require many explanations. Certainly the Envu team knew, as did Anko and Shino, but Hinata and Kiba. Would they welcome the news? He decided to use the perks of his team leader status, as he opened one of the channel of the headset, the Shino headset only. Shino. Naruto. Is everything okay? Asked Shino. Shino moved away from the team a bit. They were in a diamond formation with Naruto at the front and Hinata at the back, as Shino separated a bit more. Yes, I wish to ask a question. How do you suspect Hinata-san and Kiba-san would react to my condition of being a Jinchuriki? There was silence for a moment, as Shino thought about the question. While I suspect that Hinata would accept it, Kiba would be slightly distant, not because he's unkind, but because he wouldn't know how to react. Also, I would not recommend doing it on this mission. It would lead to unnecessary tension. Thank you for your advice, Shino, said Naruto, as he cut the channel off and switched it back to the team channel. As Shino shifted back to a closer position, it was good to have a second reaction on things. Personal reactions. Even though he suspected Shino was not the best with reactions, considering his clan. But still, the information was rather helpful. So with that, they continued their sweep. As Naruto thought about it, despite being on this team now, being the leader of them, the one that he didn't really know the most was Kiba, and he feel like he should know him after all. He did shot him in his shoulder some years back before. Still, he got along well with him. There was no connection though, as he checked to see if the Kusukama was in the right position on his back, and his Tanto blade, as they were perfect. As he thought about others that were close to him, he could count on Talon, and Anko as well. He considered others, certainly. There wasn't a deep enough connection with Kurenai or other Jonin senseis to count them. Shizune. She had treated him professionally on 2 occasions now, but that was all professional. Snavi as well. The relationship was a Hokage and one of her soldiers, Danzo. His former lord had counted at one stage. He was the first authority figure that Naruto ever known, the first real figure that commanded him, the first he ever cared about, even if he was too blunted to see it. Baka. He felt anger as he did not know the boy's name. Even going to the archives, the file had shown nothing. There was a note saying that he had to earn it first. That was aggravating. He felt the burning in his side twitch once again. Yet, there was no one thing he shared with Baka. But the boy was his first friend, he said it. Because he was so easy. He had been the first to want to get close to him, the first to read his reports, and wanted more. There wasn't any one big thing, but the boy felt and counted deeply. In fact, all of the others, although Hinata, felt close as well. He shook his head a bit. He needed to focus on the mission right now. So with that, they continued on. Time skip. When it started, it got hectic really fast, as a barrier was erected by the sealing team. Then suddenly, there was an explosion, and one of the corners of the barrier flickered so slightly, and around that corner all hell broke loose. Sealed in their protective barrier, the sealing team could only watch helplessly as the Onvus and Onko found themselves facing down 3 Akatsuki members, Itachi Uchiha, and 2 others who looked quite deadly. The standoff lasted some minutes, with the 2 other cloaked figures laughing at Talon's attempts to try to end the battle in a quick minute. Then, the first crossbow fired and everyone moved. Naruto felt the 2 Akatsuki members very quickly break out of his genjutsu, so he targeted the other one. As the man was still captured in his genjutsu, slam! The crossbow bolt pierced into the man's throat. 1 down. To his surprise though, the man reached in and pulled out the bolt as he started to swear very loudly. He fired again, but the man pulled off a sight off his back and cut the bolt down from the ear. Come out, you goddamn coward! As he did not. His first hit had broken the man from the genjutsu. The second one had dispelled it completely. Shino, bleed him dry. The insect swarmed forward, but the man leaped back to where Kakazu was, who had separated his hearts and was wreaking all havoc on the Onbu team. We need to separate him from his partner. Kiba and Hinata intercept, but be careful. This really wasn't how the mission was supposed to go. 3 Akatsuki members in one place at one time. They must have their own source of information to know that they must do this. But there was no time to worry about it. The more separated Akatsuki was, the better a chance they have. Hinata and Kiba move at the man from different sides. The man swinging his staff around as he completely disengaged both of their attacks. It kept him stuck though, as he did not move from his position. As Naruto fired another genjutsu bolt towards the man. As the man twitched, he dispelled it. More time not moving though, as he was still standing in one place. Shino's swarm started to reach the man from both sides, but he simply laughed. You think goddamn bugs are gonna kill me? The man leaped towards Shino's side, raising the ear. Kiba slammed into him with claws and spinning fury as he was blown away. As Naruto heard all sorts of chaos over to the side, where the other Akatsuki members were, along with the Onvu team, Kiba started to approach the fallen man. He suddenly rose up with a black spike in his hand. Hinata dragged him down as Shino knocked the man out of the way. I slashed your neck open. How are you alive, said Kiba. The man laughed. That little scar? As he tilted his neck, and indeed it was sliced open. I cannot die. Now prepare to be a sacrifice, the Lord joshing, he said, as he pulled his sight back to the cable that was attached to him. As Naruto fired another bolt that slammed into his shoulder, but the man shrugged it off. What kind of jutsu was this? He could not be killed by mortal wounds. Decapitation. Certainly, removing his head would stop the rest of him from moving. He whispered into his communicator while the man still laughed. Shino, keep draining him. Kiba, we need to try and disable or decapitate him. Remain cautious. He hasn't tried any other jutsus or techniques yet. Team 8 spread out around the man as he tested his sight with his hand. Sharp enough to harvest you all, he said. He rushed towards Hinata with a bolt slammed into his chest. As he stumbled a bit as Hinata shook upwards. The man recalled a bit, but he brought it down as Hinata had to roll away as she swift away from the stab that he brought down with his sight. As he laughed. Oh, a Hyuga. How scary. Look at me shaking, you bitch, he said. Insects swarmed the man once again, and he shouted some more words. As Naruto loaded a bolt with an explosive tag, he aimed carefully as Kiba knocked the man back and Shino pulled him down. But the man smacked the bolt aside as Naruto couldn't cloak his bolt with the explosive tag without detonating it. "You coward! Fighting with a crossbow," he shouted. "What are you, a genin?" Naruto said nothing as he loaded another bolt with the explosive tag as he made his way a bit closer. As he watched as he tried keeping in the same area where Shino's bugs were. As the man cried out, "Get your goddamn bugs out of my neck!" That was good to know, but they could only do so much damage as he swung the sight once again, trying to slice through any members of Team 8, but they kept their distance. Shino turned him around. Team 8 shifted position. The man simply kept on laughing. "Look at the scout team, Can't hurt me," he said, as Naruto fired. The bolt stuck in the man's hand before boom, as the hand was blown off. The man let out a cry of pain as he waved the stump around. "Oh, that felt good," he said. "That's what I want. I've shed some blood in this. Now it's your turn," he said. As the man moved faster than before, as he came at Team 8 with a new fury. As Kiba injured leg. He wasn't moving at his fullest, but Shino pulled him out of the way by the sight, snicked him a bit on his arm. Team 8 moved back as the man brought his sight up towards his lips and licked the blood off. As he burst out laughing once again, his laughing making him sound like a psychopathic maniac. As he looked at them, that new gleam in his eye seemed to be loving every single moment of what he was doing. Then his appearance changed, and Naruto got a really bad feeling. Shino wasn't at all hurt, but the man was writing something on the ground with his foot. As he was laughing the entire time, that was far more blood that he took from Shino. As Naruto wondered what the man was doing, he shot the man several more times before the symbol was completed, but the man simply laughed. "Oh, your friend is gonna pay for that," he said, as he pulled the bolt out of his forehead where Naruto shot him. Shino cried out in pain as his head was burst open where the man had pulled out the bolt. "Everything I do to myself happened to your little bug friend over there. Let's try one of these bolts, shall we? That your friend just applied." As he ripped one out of his shoulder, there was another cry of pain from Shino as blood started to leak down his arm. Kiba leapt forward in rage and anger as Naruto realized he had to get the team to safety first. That was his job as team leader. As Kiba slammed into the man, pushing him out of the circle as he started to hit him. As he saw nothing was happening to Shino, the man threw Kiba away when he turned and Kiba slammed into the ground. As he started to rise awkwardly, the man started to walk back to the circle. As Naruto contacted the whole team, fall back to somewhere where you can. Help Shino. I'll fight this guy. Hinata voice cut in. "No, you need your help to fight. You can't. It's an order. Kiba is hurt. Shino is badly hurt. And at the mercy of our opponent. Draw back." He could see the concern in her face as he walked forward out of his cover towards the man. "Okay, don't die, Naruto-kun." The suffix was different. But now was not the time to notice that. The man stepped in a circle once again and ripped out the third bolt. As Shino's knee was burst open, even though the man was visibly hurt, he did not seem to be in any pain or look like he was dying at all. He didn't even know what to say about that. As Hinata and Kiba started to drag Shino away and the man cursed. "So, you short ass, you're the leader, huh? You're the one with the crossbow." "Yes," said Naruto. The man brought up a sight as his body returned back to normal as Shino got further away from him. "I'm gonna kill, rip you apart, and enjoy it." As Naruto pulled off his new weapon, as a chain spun around him, as he had a short training session with Kakashi. He lashed out with the chain as the man swayed backwards, as he kept him out of reach. As Naruto twisted and leaped, as the man brought his sight to clean him in half. As he jumped into a tree and started to climb, the man closed on his heels. He dropped explosive tags as he leaped away. But the man leaped as well. The explosion didn't seem to bother his back, although it must have blown part of the tree bark and stabbed him. But he didn't seem to care one bit as he hopped onto the other tree, swinging wildly as Naruto jumped off the other tree. As Naruto turned and lashed out towards the man in a quick move, the blade on the end of his weapon on the chain sliced into the man's shoulder. But the man simply spun as Naruto pulled back as the tree was sliced to pieces. "I'm coming for you," he said, as he kept on jumping towards Naruto's position. No matter what he did or what he did, the man was still coming to him. As Naruto didn't understand, the man, chakra system was normal, his body was normal. There was no evidence of additional jutsu around him. So what exactly was causing the immortality jutsu? The man was on him again, not giving him time. Come back here, you coward, and just die. As Naruto fires Genjutsu Bolt and leapt down, as he buy himself some time, but he had limited options on what to do. He could stall and hope one of the other fights ended, but he was a team leader. That was an irresponsible tactic to do. He landed fully, as he fired another Genjutsu Bolt towards the man, who simply ran a finger across his sight. As Naruto fired a bolt with explosive tag, as it detonated as quick as possible, but he only got a log. You think a shitty genjutsu like that is gonna get me blown up? Is that really all you have? As Naruto knew that he would have to go to lower probability options. If you want to know where the ninth tail is, you have to let me live, he said. The man paused for a brief moment before he shrugged. There's probably more people that know that. You are going to die today no matter what. As the man came at him like a charging bull as he started to clash. As the man was just fast, swinging wildly and unpredictable, as he felt the sight graze his arm. As the man started to form the circle. As Naruto moved, as the man kicked him right in the chest, he slammed against a tree, as he knew that a rib or two must be broken. Goodbye, you little piece of shit, as he drive the pike right into his chest. As Naruto expected to feel the wound on his chest, but he did not. Only thing he felt was a slight burn in his side, like usual. What the hell? Why are you not dead? Naruto checked his arm. The wound and the blood were real. The man stabbed himself several more times. Lord Jushin, have I displeased you? The man said, as he raised his arms to the sky, his head looking up. Why? Does your power not affect him? Naruto moved forward and sliced, his tonto catching in the man's neck. As he was stuck, he moved back. The man's head flopped backwards. It wasn't completely severed, but the blade had made his head flop backwards as he looked directly at Naruto. You shit, he said. Naruto used his Kurosagama and sliced the head off. You shit, that really hurts. As Naruto looked at the head, it was talking. He then looked at the body. Fortunately, it was not moving. You wait until Kakazu get here. I'm gonna drain you dry for Lord Jushin. As Naruto remembered that, the other fight was going on. Suddenly, a body crashed down. It was Anko. She was unconscious. She was badly beaten. Itachi landed beside her, with no sign of harm on him. As Naruto raised the eyebrow, as Itachi looked at the scene. Itachi, kill this bastard and get Kakazu for me, said Hidan. Itachi eyed Molf and shifted. As black flames engulfed the man's head, he screamed on top of his lungs until he stopped screaming. As the black flames disappeared, I burned out his vocal cords. I have always desired to do so. Now then, Itachi kicked the blackened head. The fact that he could lip read wasn't helping Naruto, as the man's mouth was still moving. Suddenly, Itachi had a blade at his throat and had him pinned. As Naruto realized that his arm was hurting badly, it was probably broken from his fight with Hidan, which he didn't probably notice. I won't kill you or your team. Neither will I kill Anko. She's hurt enough to be out of this. Now, your Anbu team on the other hand. There was a massive explosion as trees were blown to pieces over to the side. This is just for appearances, and because I want you to hurt for killing Sasuke. Regardless, I suggest that you help your Anvus live against Kakazu while I succeed in capturing the three tails. Good luck, Naruto. As he kicked him away and made for the barrier, Naruto realized he had no choice as he got to his feet. As Kiba and Hinata came running. What happened? No time. Get Anko back with Shino. Make sure they're okay. Now. They obey quickly, as Naruto was happy for that. The less they knew about his broken arm, the better. He ran as fast as he could, looking for this Byakugan. The fact that he didn't have to overexert himself with it made him more happier. He saw here, as his body was pressed up against a tree, he was not moving. But he could tell that the man was still alive. But he was in a bad condition, and if he was, that meant the rest of the team was not far behind their conditions as well. and with that he continued to make his way rather quickly. As rain started to pour down, it was heavy and thick. There was a black, steamy clearing ahead where someone was using fire jutsu. The place was burned badly. He could see 3 figures up ahead. One was Pig. The man was under a tree, his arm bent in a strange angle, and he was not moving. That left Talon. As Talon was engaged in taijutsu, as the man tried to crush him with tentacles made from hair strands, there were broken masks on the man's back as well. As Naruto drew his crossbow and felt the weight of his broken arm, he was limited because of his arm being broken right now. He propped the bow up and got ready as he saw Talon was being drawn in by the man. As the man back was turned to him, Naruto saw images of Sasuke holding up Baka in the pouring rain. As he watched a friend die. Never. Never again, he said, as he channeled chakra into the bolt. As the man lifted Talon up in the air and started to laugh. As Naruto fired, the bolt made no sound. As it went through the air silently. The man didn't know that it was coming until it pierced his skin. As the bolt slammed through the man's head. Talon fall on his legs as the tentacles release him. As Naruto heard a cracking sound as he fall, Talon pulled a kuna and sliced the man's head off, just for good measure. As the heavy rain poured down, Naruto made his way forward and extended his arm, his good arm. Everything felt rather heavy. As Naruto wanted to know, when did his arm got broken exactly? Lion, what the hell has been going on? What happened to your arm? Talon asked. It's gonna take some time to explain. But the purple barrier exploded, and they felt the dark, heavy chakra descended. As Talon tried to rise but he fell, but Naruto caught him. Oh shit, said Talon. Time skip. The rain was stopped. And despite that, the team felt defeated and weighted down by that defeat. Their tactics was thought out by the best. But no one expected for there to be 3 Akatsuki members. No one expected for them to show up. The camp was quiet, as here went around to the surviving team members. The barrier team. Each and every one of them was dead. Their throat sliced by Itachi. With the barrier gone, the 3-tail had become loose for a short time. Then another terrible figure rise, and everything became quiet. The worst part was that they were helpless. They just had to watch as Itachi succeed. All of them were too depleted and weakened, and the sight of that great red figure that was on the horizon summoned up by Itachi, that had broken any hope that he could do anything. No one was in fighting shape now. Kiba and Hinata were shaken up by Shino's injuries, but they were at least on patrol for anything further. Anko was awake, but she was rather quiet. She had barely spoken, and she didn't even respond to the hug that Naruto had given her. The fire that they set, they at least started to dry out. Here, finished bandaging up one of Pig's wound as he made his way towards Naruto. Your last check, Naruto. I assume that you're the least injured, but best to check then. As here, check the man, as his arms start to glow green. Here's Sai. Of course. A fairly deep cut on one of your arms and the other one broken, as Naruto wasn't telling the full extent of his injuries. And a couple of ribs as well. I'm impressed that you survived so long to kill the guy that we were fighting. We had to kill him a couple of times. He didn't see me coming. It was easier than killing the other guy, said Naruto. Really? Here said. The other guy isn't dead. You left him out there alive? Here asked. Naruto shook his head as he reached for a storage scroll in his back. You will probably find this hard to logically accept. He unsealed the head and placed it down to here, as the head was screeching as he tried to bite him. The face was burned so the eyes wouldn't shut. Here, just look at it. Put it away. This thing is freaking me out. As Naruto sealed it back in the scroll and tucked it away. What you gonna do with it? Bury it somewhere where it can't be found or throw it into lava. I just can't think of a way to kill this guy. Here went back Naruto injuries. I'm gonna re-break the arm so it will repair right. This is gonna hurt, but I doubt that you will care, he said. As Naruto felt the pain as the envoy did his work, as the man put his arm in a sling for him. Rest until we start our way back to Konoha. We send word back. A reserve team should be on their way. But don't push yourself. As Here walked over, as he fell asleep quickly, he was drained. As Naruto walked over to where Shino lay, as he had bandage all over him from where the attacks had hit him from the undying man. As Naruto approached and sat down, Shino, how are your injuries? Naruto-san, I apologize for nearly being killed. It made my mission performance much worse than usual. A poor reference on your leadership skills. As Naruto could pick out that it was a joke. It was a great change, seeing that usually he could not decipher any of them. An illogical conclusion, friend. None of us could have anticipated such a jutsu. Indeed. Although, our friendship seemed more complete now, Naruto-san. It does, Naruto thought, as he tried to think, why? I cannot understand why that is correct. I have shared combat before with your team, and been to your clan. As Naruto was confused, Shino gave a dry chuckle before wincing a bit. Well, you shot Kiba-san and threatened Hinata. Now your crossbow bolt have indirectly caused me injury. You have successfully nearly killed our entire team once. He was right. But it wasn't worrying or shocking. Kunai Sensei would probably rip him to pieces. But there was a word there. As a sound escaped from him, as Anko and Talon turned their head, as he was laughing. In the quiet of the camp, everyone had heard their conversation, as Shino started to laugh as well. Hinata and Kiba heard as well, as they started to laugh as well, as Anko and Talon managed to chuckle slightly, as Naruto found the moment descending away, as he wiped away a tear that he suddenly found in his eye. He had laughed. He had never laughed before. That was sudden, unexpected, and incredible. As he realized everyone was looking at him, as Anko moved towards him, as she pulled him into a hug. Darkikan, was that the first time you ever laughed? I believe so, he said. She wrapped him a bit tighter. The hug was different than the wild hugs that she gave him before. It felt like family. He didn't know how these hugs could change definition, but it was strange. It felt different than the others. As she broke the hug, an Anko smiled for the first time since she woke up from her battle tiredness. I'm happy for you, Darkikan. Thanks, Uncle-chan, he said, as she broke away and went to sit near Talon. As Naruto started to write his report, as Anko looked over after a while and saw him writing. Darkikan, she said. Yes? Could you read some of your reports to me? I need a bedtime story, she told him. The request was odd, and he conjured up another memory of Baka. He had asked for it and he had enjoyed it. Darkikan? Oh, of course, Uncle-chan, he said. As he started to read his report, there they were, figures in the far distant sight, indistinct and fuzzy in my sight. The long tree trunk obscured my sight, but the team has more senses than simply sight. Our eyes are sharper than others, and we saw their chakra. They glow with malice, darkness, and a distant chakra in cold winter's night. They achieve and advance upon us slowly, giving us precious time to act. Kiba nose was sharp as well, the wind favors as well. We knew how long it would take for them to arrive. Like the deers, we ran through the trees, sliding around bushes, hopping over shrubs. As we rushed towards our passage, towards our comrades we ran, with word of something unexpected that was coming. Because there was 3, not 2. 3 was more than we had hoped. Our movements were fast. Every second had to be safe. Every second, every moment was needed. And the beast started to take on form. Our greatest fear was coming through. We have been found. And now we have to fight. He flipped the page as he looked up. Uncle was sleeping, a small smile on her face. Talon was sleeping as well. He realized there was no reason to keep on speaking out loud, as he returned to writing back his report, and just glanced at the fire every now and then. Time skip. As Naruto was currently going over his report, as Shizune had told him not to move. Not to do anything that was overdoing it. That was medic talk for don't being an idiot. So he simply lay back as he was in the hospital. As he looked over his report, when there was a knock at his door. As he put down his report, it was basically done anyway. Enter. He wasn't sure who he was expected, but this was definitely a surprise. Sakura. She looked embarrassed, as she wouldn't look at him directly, as she silently came in. There was an odd silence, as she was looking at his chart. As she then looked up at him, but didn't face him directly. Shizune, asked me to check on you. She did not. I prefer the truth, Sakura-san, he said. She threw the chart at him as he caught it with his good arm. She threw it rather hard. I hate you, she said. That was unexpected. At least, her being so direct was. What have I done to offend you? He said. As she stared at him, her fist clenching. As he thought about his ways to stop her. He would have to broke Shizune rule in the hospital. You killed him. You killed both of my teammates. Both. Of them were my friends. And you killed them and disappeared for 3 years. Do you know where that left me? Do you know where that left everyone? You nearly broke Hinata. And you're hurting me now. You hurt Tsunade-sama. And you left a big hole where you went. You only bring pain and death. And I want to end you, she said. I know. Then do something about it. Did you see what Sasuke did to your other teammate, he said. She seemed to shrink down a bit. I loved him, Sasuke. I loved him and he rejected me. Then my other teammate swore to me that you would bring him back. Then they both were killed. By you. Your other teammate was nearly dead by the time I arrived. Do you know what his last words were? I saw them. I read his lips. That made me fire, he said. She looked at him, her anger replaced with fear and deep regret. Tell me, she said. Why, he said. I need to know. You need to tell me. As Naruto remembered the scene, his lips covered in blood, he said, I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. I was so shocked by what I realized. And then I fired. Sakura slumped down. That idiot Baka, she said. Always the good person. I never saw in him. As she started to cry. As Naruto didn't know what to do, clearly, she was in no condition to treat patients. He took the heart monitor off his chest. As the thing started to flatline, it took a couple of seconds as a new doctor rushed inside. As he looked at Sakura, crying, and he looked at Naruto as he sighed. Please don't do that. We have a call button, okay? As Naruto wondered why wasn't he told about that, he would have to ask Shizune. I apologize. I felt that someone should take Sakura home. She isn't in a place where she should be treating patients. Thanks, kid. As he helped Sakura up as she started to cry same way. Would you mind taking the heart monitor off? It's clearly not necessary. It seems like Shizune went overboard again. She gets like that. He pulled the plug out and the thing went quiet. After a few minutes, there was another knock. As Naruto seriously felt like he needed a weapon. Enter. The door was pushed gently. As Hinata came in. Hinata-san. Naruto-san, she said. Since we're due another therapy session, Shizune, allow me to hear it out here while you're in physical therapy. How's your arm? It is healing. I can wait until it's ready, but I dislike waiting in the hospital. He sat up on the bed as Hinata dropped a chair. He was allowed his own clothes after he found the hospital gown to be useless. That was a little mercy on their side. How is Shino-san? He's healing as well. His injuries were not as bad as expected, and his hive kept the wound clean during the mission. He will be up sooner rather than later. Naruto nodded. He felt happy that his crossbow fired and not hurt Shino more gravely, as he remembered the laugh after the mission. Now then, last time we were able to talk about the main incident and about Temari. Any thoughts on that? None. It was true. He didn't fear the incident anymore. The only problems were the screams. But Hinata didn't wish to test any further just yet. I was wondering, I saw someone helping Sakura away when I was coming in. Is she alright? He wasn't sure how to describe it. I talked with her. I might have said something that upset her. Why? I told her what his last words were. Hinata recoiled a bit. Oh, you heard him. She sounded scared, and she went a bit pale. Are you alright? Yes, well, no. His death is still an unsettling subject for me. I would like to know what his final words were. If you would tell them to me, she said. They were, I'm sorry. A tear slipped from her eye and landed on the floor as Naruto watched the entire wave going down. It was like a tiny bomb. As she turned her head away from him, he slowly made his way across the room and gave her a gentle hug. He wasn't sure when to break away, and his arm stuck in a cast. He had to properly shift it a bit. He could feel a few tears as his shirt was getting a bit soaked. He was confused why the last words of Baka was causing this reaction. He had no idea. There was one thing that didn't trouble him while fighting Akatsuki, though, as he thought about it. And they haven't talked about, that was the memory seal. As he was surprised that it didn't affect him. While fighting Akatsuki, it didn't even come up. It was a thing that burned him when he done tried his technique. But he didn't know why it burned him, what he done technique had to do with it. He was still confused about the whole scenario. He let her loosen her grip a bit, as he released the grip. As he noticed her eyes, they were baggy, tiredness. "Have you been sleeping well, Hinata-san?" he asked. She looked at him. "Not really. But this is your therapy session, Naruto. We need to take the final step of your treatment. I'm worried about what will happen when the seal breaks. What will happen to you? I'm worried how much it will hurt, and I don't want it to happen." He looked at her. She was concerned. It made him feel guilt for making she do this. But it had to be done, and Hokage gave her the order, as she could break it without his consent. As he could see the difference between many things now. Danzo wouldn't have hesitated. He would have just done it without mercy. "Don't be. I'm worried as well," he said. She nodded. "I have another query for you, Hinata-san." "What is it?" "During the mission, you called me Naruto-kun. I was wondering why." She turned a bit pink, a sign of embarrassment. I almost see what Shino and Kiba. You shared experiences with our team, and you also lead us. We're closer than we realize. I didn't want you to die," she said. "I see. You occupy a similar place with me, like Uncle, and Shino as well. I certainly don't wish for your deaths either. I brought something special to eat in the therapy session, but seeing that dissolve a bit, let's just eat something," she said. She brought her the bag with a sweet smell. Hospital food was rather bland despite having the nutrition. "These are my favorite," she said. "Cinnamon rolls." She passed him one of the curling buns as he sniffed it. She giggled a bit at that as he took a bite, ignoring the sticky, sugary substance on his fingers, as it was sweet. He preferred the flavors of ramen that might exist though, but this was nice as well, as he took another bite, as Hinata started to eat as well. After he was done, he washed his hand of a sticky sugar, but he watched her lick her fingers off. She saw him looking and blushed a bit. "Sorry, my manners go a bit off when eating these," she said. "They certainly taste good. Well, next time we can get back working on the seal. Don't rush your recovery." "Of course." She nodded as she left. As he wondered if she was going back to the monument because of Baka's last words. As he looked down towards his side, he returned back to his manuscript. At the moment, he felt content. Everything was okay. But guys, the end steps are right here. If you want the next part, to do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was given abilities by 4 devils, and you enjoyed that over on Anime King. And also over on Anime King 3, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto had cosmic energy. So go ahead and enjoy that as well. And remember, if you're new, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace. I'm out for you guys.